Hello everybody and welcome back to Collection Log Progress, the series where we try to fill in as many log slots as possible. I've been away for a little while, but now we're back and we're planning to get on with a lot of Slayer this episode in order to collect some Brimstone keys and try and push up our bank to higher values in order to afford more PVM gear. Join us today as we explore some of the things we've been doing whilst we've been away, and I hope you enjoy. Something I've been hopping on to do in the background between time away is that of Serachnis. I've been trying to stack up clues, as you've probably been clued into many a time, pun intended. And one of the best ways to do so for elites and hards, which are the only two tiers I have left to complete the stacks of, is Serachnis, as it drops them both at a quite common rate, and there's also a possibility for it to drop both at the same time. Alongside this, I'm also still missing the pet here, and the jar, which will allow me to fill in 2 more slots, should I be lucky enough to get them on my grind. I've got another member of the clan who, when we did our bingo, got 2 pets within the first couple of 100 kills. I'm hoping that, by being close with the clan and having these people as my friends, their luck will rub off on me. But we will see. Anyway. Something else I've decided to dabble into is some of the combat diary achievements. I'm doing these as, for each tier you unlock, through Easy through Elite, you get an increased drop rate for each clue relevant to that tier. I'm sure you've seen YouTubers do these 100 times, so I'm just going to scoot through some of them I've done. We got the Can't Touch Me barrows on, which took me a few attempts, as just clicking on them was seemingly way too difficult, and I'm not very good. Then we did a couple more of the worldy ones here, the Crazy Archaeologist. I'd killed him plenty of times before, finished his entire collection log a while ago, as you've previously seen, but that was before the combat tasks, and so I still had to go back and get those done. After which we went and did 1 or 2 at the mole, because I think we had a couple left there to finish off. They were pretty easy all in all, no issue there. Bit of see Halley specs, finish it off. I think I've got a couple left for higher tiers, but that's easy enough. Then we just came back from doing the Chaos Fanatic one, as I never really killed that boss due to getting the pet quite early on at the Chaos Elemental. After which I went to the Deranged Archaeologist, who had a task that was essentially similar to the crazy one, where you just had to dodge the specials. I'd killed this a lot in the past just to get on the high scores for it, because it's one of those bosses that it's very easy to get on high scores for, because no one kills it. Then I went down to Rex, froze him in place while he was already in a safe spot to get the one where he can't move. And that wasn't too bad at all. I've already got the Rex pet, so that's not something I have to grind out. Then I went down to Varrock Sewers and I camped out these moss giants for a long time in order to try and get mossy keys. This is not a grind I'm looking forward to when I have to go for the Briarfighter's Essence, because as you can see here, it took us a lot of kills in order to get just 1 key. Thankfully though, 1 key was all I needed in order to complete this last achievement, where I believe you had to kill 3 of the sapling spawns within essentially 3 seconds of them spawning, or of each other. I kept pushing through to the end of the kill obviously, and checking if I got the Briarfighter's Essence, because that would save me a lot of time in future. Unfortunately not today. Though I did get another beginner clue, which, as I was stacking them, I managed to finish them all. Now, come over here, Gommel. Give me that help. This is my second one. Obviously, I had the beginner at the first tier at the beginning, as you possibly saw. But it is good now to have this finished, as now I'm going to get an increased rate on mediums should I be getting them through any other means than through imp. So if I end up doing cannoning Falador guards, for example, it's going to have an even higher rate, which is also boosted by the Falador achievement diary. I end up throwing the lamp here into agility, as it's a skill that is going to take a while, essentially, and there's not many grinds that I'm looking forward to with it. Admittedly, I've got to do Hallowed Sepulchre for log slots there, and I'll probably end up getting 99 through that if my luck is like anyone else's. I spent a little time here looking at the hard ones, and while none of them seem implausible, it's definitely going to be a while before I decide to go for them all, as camping out Godwill's dungeon is not something I am particularly fond of. I know a lot of people have a fondness for Godwill's dungeon, but it's not anything I have nostalgia for, so we'll get onto that later. Another grind I'm hoping to complete at some point in the future is that of the herbivore pet. It's a good way to get Hunter XP, which, if you've watched any of my other videos or know me, you'll know is my least favourite skill. And it also allows you to generate a little bit of money, estimated at about, I think it's about 600 to 700k per hour with the magic secateurs, and depending on your herb and hunter level, I believe. I'm doing 100 here and there of this in order to get the pet. I know I've seen people go 10,000 dry, and I don't want to be one of those. A couple more weeks away means a couple more weeks of Tears of Gothics, both cases here getting runecrafting XP. Just something I like to keep you guys on top of every time I do them. Then we got invited to do some Tempe Thursday with some friends. It's nice to play this minigame with some friends, just getting in a call together, chatting, shooting the shit as it were. Unfortunately, we didn't get any drops, but one of the people here, a couple of days later, managed to get themselves both the dragon harpoon and the big harpoon fish, so GG them. One of the first Slayer tasks we got of the grind was that of dagger knots. Here we got the dragon axe, while we were bundling along with our buddy who we let sit on Rex as we didn't need anything for it and he still needed a few drops. Not long after, we got another axe as we were killing them, which was annoying for our friend Weir because he still needs that for his iron, but you know, we keep going, we keep it grinding. I enjoy DKs, I think they're honestly the best mid-game boss. Not too long, and I managed to get an archer's ring, which is one of the most expensive drops here. And then almost immediately after, I get the Seer's ring. Then, not long after, I reach the 1300 KC milestone, and then finally, a Berserker's ring. Honestly, this trip was really good. I enjoyed having a friend there with me again, and it's making me love RuneScape more. Then we had a Drake's task, which I finally got the Drake's Claw in. I think I'm over 1,000 KC here before seeing any drop. And considering that both the drops are around 1 in 500 and 1 in 800 from here, it was good to get one. Even if the drop is literally useless once you have the Elite Diary like I do. Just showing off in the log here that, yeah, I've only got one of the two. You can see some of the other items I've got in here as well along the way, what I'm missing out on. But if we go over to our Slayer ring, we can go down and see that I'm scrolling down, finding it. See all the huge KCs and some of the creatures I've got to get to 99. And see I've got over 1,000 there before finally seeing any of them, which as you can see here, are meant to be 1 in 512 each. I went a little dry and I'm still going for the other. Another Slayer task, of which I'm dry of at least one of the uniques of, is that of the Rune Dragons. This is one of my favourite Slayer tasks, as it basically just prints money and is extremely quick for what you do. You get guaranteed runite bars every kill, that tied with alking any rune gear you get, along with the not too uncommon chance to get dragon plane skirts or dragon plate legs, means it's one of the best tasks you can possibly get, at least from the enjoyment perspective of my own views. That being said, not having gotten any of the uniques yet from this place and having over 1,000 kills does make it a little saddening, as with what you can see here, one of the uniques is only 1 in 800. I don't have expected to get the Dragon Metal Lump yet, but it would have been nice to at least see the other. Now, going back to a place you're probably familiar with if you've been keeping track of the series, we've got Zulrah. We decided to go for another 100 kills here as we are still lacking the Onyx, the Pet, and the Mutagens. So this is somewhere where occasionally I'm going to have to dabble in. Also, the money isn't too bad. I made a little time lapse of all the drops here, and stay tuned to the end because we do manage to get something. So, as you saw there towards the end of that trip, we managed to get ourselves a second Tanzanite Fang, and also puts our kill count up to a satisfying 1234, 1234, which is just nice to look at. Also, from that trip, we managed to make quite a decent amount of cash. As you can see from the loot tracker here, we managed to make ourselves 18.5 mil. Now, obviously, there'll be a lot of that used on supplies in the trip, but I'm happy to have it. And the fact that we got 3 elite clues along the way is something that I'm personally quite happy about, and will lead to me coming back here even more in future. Between the last video and this, jagexs finally released Raids 3. After completing the quest beneath Cursed Sands, you're able to enter the pyramid that is in there in order to compete in the new Tombs of Amascut raid. When Theatre of Blood first came out, I was not in a place where I felt ready in my own skill level to do raids. But now with this one, and its optional scaling rules, I thought now would be the best time as ever to both improve my PVM skills and also have a chance at getting those rare and unique drops. As mentioned, this raid allows you to scale it up at your own rate using invocations that add points to the raid, which will scale the amount of loot you get, or at least we assume, while also making it a harder challenge to increase your skills as you go. Now, unfortunately, due to me trying to focus on the raid and get used to it, I didn't capture many clips during it, but I managed to complete an entry mode with 2 members of our clan, Squatter and Koro, who helpfully guided me through it. They'd done some on the day of release, and I only got there the day after. I appreciate both these, and as you can see in the side, the loot wasn't that great, but it was still something to be had. Going for the back-to-back, we managed to get a new time there, which obviously when you're in the early days isn't that hard to get new times improving. Also, something cool really happened during this raid. As you can see from the chat, Squatter managed to pull the thread. And almost immediately after, so too did Koro. I tried looking in my chest for it, and unfortunately didn't get it. But in the next raid, after me and I think Cal decided to hold hands as ghosts, unfortunately we can't, we managed to pull ourselves the Cache of Runes, as well as a Blood Essence. Now the Cache of Runes is really cool as it can add a lot of value to each of your raids, this one giving us 2,000 Death Runes, or around 300k, which takes that raid value up to 500k. After which we did another raid, where I did this time manage to pull the thread, which I was very happy about, as this allows you to hold 4 runes in your rune pouch at any given time. When travelling in raids here, you can see I normally bring the water runes out, allowing me to cast both Ice Barrage and Blood Barrage, mostly for the Baba room. But now, I can carry them both in one slot, and carry a bit more supplies in each time. Which is a really nice quality of life thing, not to mention it'll be helpful at Sire. Now, as you can see from the chat, I decided I wanted to learn solos, and for this, while I'm not showing you every room, I will be showing you the final boss and the times I got on each of the rooms. Initially, I wasn't too fast at each of them as I was still in the learning phase, and as you can see from the top left, this was only an entry mode. I wanted to get down the basics of solos before I decided to step it up a notch, but I thought this would be a good way to learn the mechanics and improve over time. Initially, I found rooms like the Z-Back room and the Baba room to be the easiest, but over time I eventually learned that once you realise how each of the boss's mechanics work, it's actually kind of easy to manipulate them all. And Z-Back has issues that have since been resolved with bug fixes, but I still nowadays find that room to be the most frustrating, at least out of the majority rooms. Baba's room can be troubling at times, again before some changes were made recently, involving the sarcophagus and the area in which it hits. I really enjoy the mechanic of the supplies between every other room. I think it's a nice thing that encourages you to not have to worry about saving supplies as much. Obviously, when you use certain invocations, that will reduce the amount you get, and that will change it. These times are just from my initial run, and while in boss rooms the times will generally change between runs, once you get time down for puzzle, they usually stay consistent regardless of the invocations you've got on. Nowadays, I personally find the Scarab room to be the most fun, as the puzzles offer something new and exciting that really we haven't experienced too much of in RuneScape. You get the occasional puzzle here and there during quests and mini-quests, but it's not often you get them in something like a raid. Like, you could argue that stuff like Crab's room is, and there are puzzle rooms in Raids 1, but I guess it's because of how long they've been out, they don't feel like puzzles so much as just random things. I think the fact that they're the same every time doesn't help, whereas the puzzles in here have a lot more variety to them. There's a lightbox puzzle, a memory puzzle, a math puzzle, and kind of, well, one of them I don't like, where you've got to shoot the pillars until they light up in the right order. But I think that's more so because there's an element of not being able to figure it out until you've already failed, so to speak, fail state. For this, I decided to play through my first attempt solo of the final boss. And I think I will let you guys listen to this play out with the music given to us in the tombs. I hope you enjoy, and I'll see you on the other side. as you saw there, we managed to pull off our first raid in a total time of 47 minutes. Now, initially I didn't understand why there were two separate times, but one is challenging, showing just the rooms themselves, and one of them shows the total time, which includes time in between rooms. Obviously, this took me longer than it should have done, but as I got used to it, I've lowered that time down to, I believe, around 35 to 38 minutes. Here we got our first solo chest, and it wasn't too bad loot, especially for entry mode. Unfortunately, I got baited a little bit seeing the chat, where our friend got lots of drops there, but I'm still happy with the results. I know that since the release of this clip, they changed how it works, but I still believe that the way this raid is designed is so good for both teams and solo players. I can't wait to see the actual rates. The next raid I did, I managed to get to just over 40 minutes, just missing out on that walk for it bonus. As you can see here, I managed to 2-cycle the croc room, doing it almost perfectly. I believe I can still scrape off 2 seconds though if I try harder. By looking at the time in the top left, you can see that we're managing to cut a lot of time off each of the prep rooms and boss rooms, as this is 2 rooms in and we're only at 11 minutes. Coming out of the final of the 4 mini boss rooms, we're only setting in at about 24 minutes, which gives us plenty of time to get the boss done in under 35. Now, unfortunately, after that, we planked at the boss room, and I was getting a bit low on GP for recouping my gear, so I decided to open some of the brimstone keys that I'd gotten through doing Slayer earlier. Unfortunately, we weren't able to get anything of significance in terms of collection logs, but we did manage to get ourselves a decent amount of cash pulled together in order to restock should we need it. Now, I won't go through every single raid I did, as there were plenty of times where I kept getting to the final boss. I was improving every boss room by room, but the final boss would always take me out. I would always die with it on 100 HP or 200 HP left, and if I remember, I'll put some screenshots up of that now. So, eventually, I decided I'm going to go do some more with friends. But I didn't want to get this video out and be disappointing until I got something. Because obviously we had the Cache of Runes and the thread, but I think we're all under the assumption that those are fairly common drops. I wanted to give you guys something to be excited about, something that would make this grind worth it. And so, I sent a raid just today of this editing this video, with a couple of very good friends of mine, a Mad Celt and a Kia. And well, I'll just let you see what happened. Now, unfortunately, we didn't manage to capture my audio, but we did manage to capture Celts and Kias. Just know that I was freaking the fuck out.
Alright, I'm running into the chat, zoomed in.
Already zoomed out, so I know.
Oh, it's a purple.
No, it's not me.
It's yours.
Nice one. Oh, what are we getting?
Oh my god.
At least you got one, because we've already got one, so nicely done. Ooh.
Staff, give me the staff. Ooh.
Ooh, nice. That's about 100 milli each. Nicely done. Fucking awesome. Did not expect that from my first attempt, not gonna lie, fucking hell.
No, know me, bro.
Birthday purples!
Bro, honestly, I started shaking earlier when I saw mine. I couldn't even click the chest properly.
So, as you can see, I managed to pull the Missouri Chaps, one of the new best in slot range gear armor, and oh my god, I was so happy. Ultimately, we managed to sell it for about 323 mil after messing around with deconstructing a chain skirt to bake it into the proper form. We worked out that'd be worth a little bit more money. I'm so happy to get this and so happy to have filled another log slot. And honestly, I hope I can fill more of these. I'm probably going to be camping Tombs for a while, as I'm really enjoying the content and do believe it's some of the best content jagexs has put out in a long time. With its scalability and accessibility, it's honestly just so good to improve overall, and as you've seen from this, make some really nice money in the process. I then sold my Arim shirt and managed to upgrade to an ancestral top, giving me full ancestral access now, meaning when I next go back to Zulrah, it's going to be even better, and also will help me out with raids along the way. Anyway, as you can tell, it's been a while since we made our last video. I got on a grind for clues that I still haven't finished. I decided to put all my focus into that, but in the process of doing that, I burnt out again. That was silly of me. That on top of starting the new job gave me less time to interact, and also I just wanted to get out more and do other things. I've played a few more of the games in my spare time, and I'd really like to try sampling those on the channel at some point, things like the Binding of Isaac and whatnot. Either way, I'm really happy with how Raids 3 has turned out. I can't wait to do more and get more videos out for you all. If you enjoyed, please let me know, and goodbye.